Before a spike leaves her hand, Melissa Vargas has already decided the point, that is the aura she now carries as the most feared left arm in women's volleyball. The Cuban-born, Turkey-made superstar did not rise on hype or image, but on a career of exiles, transfers, rebirths and medals. In this profile for CeleScore TV, we trace not only the athlete the world sees on the floor, the MVP built in sweat and scars, but the private life she rarely shows, her guarded inner circle, her off-court personality, and her close professional bonds including with fellow Turkish megastar Zehra Güneş, whose synergy with Vargas turned the national team into a global powerhouse. We will break down Vargas's career ascent, her relationship status and what is known, and what is not, about her romantic life, including the fact that she has not publicly identified as lesbian or confirmed any same-sex relationship, and we will close by exploring the question fans obsess over most, the size of her net worth in 2025 and how fast it is growing. Melissa Vargas keeps her private orbit tight and largely sealed from cameras, which only adds to the myth around her. Born on October 16, 1999, in Cienfuegos, Cuba, she grew up in a modest, sport-leaning household, raised by parents who pushed discipline and repetition rather than applause. Those early years forged the stubborn, unbreakable temperament that now defines her game. Friends and former teammates from her youth programs in Cuba describe her as soft-spoken until you give her a ball, the kind of person who avoids social crowds but bonds deeply with the very few she lets inside her circle. After leaving Cuba and eventually naturalizing to Türkiye, she rebuilt a second life from scratch, new language, new country, new inner circle, forming professional and personal loyalties mostly inside volleyball culture rather than celebrity society. Today she lives quietly, travels with a small trusted entourage, and protects her off-court relationships with the same ferocity she protects match points. Nothing leaks without her consent. Melissa Vargas' trajectory broke the usual pipeline: no NCAA detour, no collegiate grooming, no four-year soft landing. She was already a professional weapon before girls her age even took high school graduation photos. Raised in Cienfuegos, Cuba, she debuted for Cienfuegos VC while still a teenager, and the power she generated off the floor was so far beyond developmental age that she was pulled into the Cuban national team system in her mid-teens. The state-run Cuban system, which historically locks down talent, thrust her into FIV windows rather than classrooms, and that is why there is no college chapter in her story. By the time most players are hunting scholarships, Vargas was already playing against grown women for ranking points, salaries, titles, and national pride. Her move to Valero Zurich in Switzerland was the first hinge of destiny. There she confronted European tempo, faster offenses, stronger block systems, and the psychological shock of being a foreign teenager holding adult payroll expectation. Then came the turbulence. Passport politics and federation conflict placed her in a competitive limbo, physically ready, contractually gagged, unable to represent Cuba and restricted from the international stage. That lost period is what rewired her. She trained like a condemned fighter with no date of return. When she re-emerged in Türkiye with Fenerbahçe Opet, she was not the same player. She was sharper, colder, more industrial. Loan spells to Tianjin Bohai Bank, China, turned her into a serial closer, winning Chinese Super League titles and MVP-level scoring seasons that made coaches adjust their entire defensive geometry around her. In 2021 she obtained Turkish citizenship, and that single bureaucratic act rewired international power. She was no longer an imported scorer, now the engine of a nation. With Vargas on the floor, Türkiye did what it had never done: conquered VNL 2023, conquered Eurovolley 2023, climbed to world number 1, and did it not by outlasting teams but by crushing their certainty. She was the MVP, the terminal point maker, the closer in tiebreaks, the psychological wall that cracked opponents' belief before the fifth set could breathe. In club play she has stockpiled Turkish League crowns, Super Cups, and CEV medals with Fenerbahçe, while in the national jersey she has become the identity piece of a golden cycle. Entering 2025, Melissa Vargas is no longer classified as the strongest opposite. She is the measuring stick other opposites are judged against, the reason tactics are rewritten, and the proof that a player who never set foot in college can rewrite the shape of a global era. For years, a portion of the volleyball audience has speculated about the nature of the bond between Melissa Vargas and Zehra Güneş, two superstars whose chemistry on and off the court appears unusually close. Their laughter in training, physical comfort, private whispers during breaks, and the way they celebrate points together have fueled a wave of fan-made edits, with some viewers assuming a hidden lesbian relationship. The rumor machine grew not from anything said by either woman but from the pattern fans think they see, sitting together on flights, sharing friendly photos that editors romanticize, and staying extremely private about their dating lives. But despite the volume of speculation, the core truth has never changed. No interview, no post, no document has ever confirmed a romantic relationship between Melissa and Zehra, nor has Melissa publicly identified as lesbian or disclosed any same-sex partner. What exists is a fan storyline built on observed chemistry, not verified fact. When it comes to her romantic life in general, Melissa Vargas is a sealed vault. She has never introduced a partner, male or female, never spoken publicly about dating, and never acknowledged any past or current relationship of any kind. That silence is what allows the public imagination to run. Some assume she is lesbian because she has never been linked to a man, others interpret the same silence as proof of extreme privacy rather than orientation. Until she chooses to speak, the only accurate description is this: Melissa Vargas has not confirmed any partner, has not confirmed any relationship with Zehra Güneş, and has not publicly stated her sexuality. Her personal life remains exactly as she constructed it, unknown, unconfirmed, and unreachable. As of 2025, Melissa Vargas' estimated net worth is widely placed in the range of $2 to $4 million, a figure built not from social media influence or endorsements but primarily from elite volleyball income. Her core earnings come from high-value contracts with Fenerbahçe Opet in Turkey and previous high-paying stints in the Chinese Super League with Tianjin, where foreign MVP-level scorers are compensated at premium rates. On top of club salary, the Turkish national team's Golden Era, VNL and Eurovolley titles, brought performance bonuses, sponsorship incentives, and appearance fees tied to her new status as the face of an era. Unlike many stars, she does not chase public brand deals, she earns like a heavyweight fighter, by winning, and because she sits at the absolute top of the positional food chain, her on-court contracts alone generate millionaire status without the noise of commercial showmanship. And that is the story, or at least the part of it the world is allowed to see. Melissa Vargas built a life in silence, a career in fire, and a legacy in statistics that force her name into every conversation about power, dominance, and era-defining athletes. Behind her, rumors multiply; ahead of her, history waits for the next chapter. If you want to know how that chapter will unfold, and if you want to be here the moment the next truth drops, about her career, her relationships, her fortune or her future, then don't just watch and leave. Subscribe to CeleScore TV, turn on notifications, and stay with us, because when the next headline lands, we will be the first to break it to you.